Bow your heads. Father God, we're so very thankful for this day. We're thankful for the many blessings of life. Thankful for this county and this community that you have blessed us with. We ask that you would be with us tonight and all the decisions that we make, that you would give us wisdom, that all the decisions would be for the betterment of this community. We ask that you would continue to keep everybody safe, keep this community healthy as we continue to struggle with this virus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Over.
Oh, it's usually up here, sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank y'all.
It was for the loop there.
Hey, it did. It's usually behind us, so sorry about that. I want to welcome everybody tonight. We do want to welcome Catherine Downs, our new assistant administrator. She comes to us from Glenn County, where she was the assistant down there, and then also the kind of, you were the administrator, fill-in administrator for the last few months. So she just joined us starting yesterday. So who else do we have? We have Catherine Johnson from the chamber. And who else do we have here? We've got some of our employees. But we want to thank everybody for coming again, and welcome Catherine Downs to Bryan County. Look forward to working with you. All right, we need the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the agenda as submitted, but add executive session for real estate at the end.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, now we need the approval of the July 2021 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the July 2021 meeting minutes.
Second.
Second. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, now we need a motion to close this meeting and open up a public hearing, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we close this meeting and open up a public hearing.
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, we're on the second reading of the ordinance. Who's going to do this? Auditor? Man?
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah. Sorry.
Good evening. This is the second reading for that Article 7 amendment for the special events ordinance. Again, this focuses on commercial event venues and was created based on site visits and research of other community ordinances. And we created two types of event venues, private event venues and rural event venues. And we'll be removing special event homes and special event centers. The private event venues, these will be private facilities for events such as parties, weddings, will be permitted uses in business and commercial zoning. And the rural event venue will be for venues in agricultural or A5 zoning, also for private events. But it will be a conditional use, so it will require a public hearing for approval. Some of the main conditions would include a minimum lot size of 5 acres, a permanent building. There will be noise and light restrictions, as well as some design requirements. An operational plan will be required to be on file, and there will be limits on the time of events and the days of events on the property. And just as a general overview, the main areas that will be impacted in the ordinance, the land use tables will have to be updated to reflect these new uses and remove some. And the rural event venue will be added in the conditional use chapter, and definitions will be added for these event venues as well. And I can answer any questions you have about these changes.
You may have any questions. This is the second reading, so we'll be voting when we go back into our regular scheduled meeting on that. So, okay? No questions? All right, thank you, sir. Okay, next up is the VTRE Development LLC Comprehensive Plan Amendment for North Bryan Future Land Use Map for Parcel 034-020 and 034-020-01.
Commissioners, item 2 and 3 on your agenda are associated items. We have the comprehensive plan amendment by VTRE Development as well as their rezoning request. And so I would recommend that staff go ahead and complete the presentation for both of these prior to accepting public comments. And if that's okay with the commission, I'll go ahead and begin. So the first part of this request is the comprehensive plan amendment. The request is being presented for 2 parcels of land located on Highway 280. These parcels are identified as map and parcel numbers 034-020 and 034-02001. The applicant is requesting the comprehensive plan amendment and the rezoning in order to support development that's currently underway on the adjacent tract. This is the Kelly tract that currently abuts the property to the rear. This was presented to you last year for an industrial development, so it primarily consists of about 7 warehouse buildings that are planned. And as of now, the Kelly tract is getting its access from Oracle Parkway, which is internal to the industrial park. This application for the comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning was presented as an extension of the Kelly tract development that is currently underway, in which they were proposing a secondary access through these 2 parcels in order to interconnect to this development and provide that secondary means of access from Highway 280. Currently, the comprehensive plan amendment shows this area of the county being identified as a commercial corridor along Highway 280. And you can see remaining areas outside of the commercial corridor and the surrounding industrial areas are still represented as being low density and agricultural characters. To support their request for the comprehensive plan amendment, we first look at the criteria under the Unified Development Ordinance for when a comprehensive plan amendment can be presented outside of a 5-year comprehensive plan update. And the ordinance identifies 4 criteria that can be considered. The first is the appropriateness of the request, meaning that it is appropriate to go ahead and consider this rather than considering it under a 5-year update. The second criteria relates to any original errors or omissions that might have been in that 5-year comprehensive plan. The third criteria relates to subsequent events that might have occurred since the last adoption of the comprehensive plan. And the fourth is the overall need for the amendments. Now, the Unified Development Ordinance does not say that all 4 criteria has to be met for a comprehensive plan amendment outside of a 5-year period, only that one of these must be met. So for this particular request, we evaluated this under the criteria related to subsequent events. In addressing the subsequent events, we note that the last comprehensive plan amendment was completed in 2018, but after that, the Board of Commissioners approved a comprehensive plan and future land use amendment in January of 2021. This comprehensive plan amendment was completed in order to support the rezoning of approximately 2,500 acres located off of Highway 80 in the north end of the county. And as a result of this comprehensive plan amendment, we now see that the predominant land use between I-16 and Eldora Road along Highway 280 and Highway 80 is projected now to be industrial. So these subsequent events we see as resulting in an overall change to this area of the county in terms of the projected character for future development. And so we do consider this to be grounds for considering this comprehensive plan amendment outside of that 5-year update. We present this along with the rezoning because the rezoning guidelines say that we do need consistency between the comprehensive plan and the official zoning map. So therefore, if the property is requested to be rezoned to I-2 as requested by the applicant, then we would say that the comprehensive plan amendment should be accepted as well and changed to industrial use in order to remain compatible with their request. So the second part of their request under item 3 is their request to rezone this property. So currently the property is zoned RR1, which is a rural residential zoning district. And as an extension of the existing industrial development, we found that this should really be rezoned to I-2 in order to remain compatible with the current I-2 zoning. In reviewing this request, we do know that the property is already contiguous to property that is zoned I-2. and as a means for secondary access to support the development that's currently underway. Staff was supportive of their request to go ahead and rezone the property to I-2 for that use. Now, I do want to note that even though the surrounding property is zoned I-2, the existing development that we see along Highway 280 is still primarily of a rural and residential nature. We do still have a lot of single-family residences within the area, and that was something that we wanted to be mindful of in the staff report and with our recommendation. And so whenever we evaluated this, we wanted to be clear that we were evaluating this based off of the proposed use that the applicant presented, which was just to provide the secondary access road into this development. So as staff reviewed this, although we're supportive of the request in order to extend this development, we do want to make note of the staff's recommended condition, and this is going to appear on page 102 of your packages. And that staff's recommendation includes that the property be rezoned, but subject to the following condition. That condition reads that the development of the parcels shall generally conform to the intended use of the property, which is to provide a secondary access to the adjacent Kelly tract as depicted on the submitted conceptual plan. And whenever we attach a condition to a rezoning request, what we say is that that condition is binding and is enforceable just as any other ordinance. So the reason for attaching this condition from the staff's perspective would be in order to require them to have to come back to the board to amend that condition should the plan deviate from what was presented in their application. And that would at least afford another opportunity for the public to participate in that process should they come back with a development plan that might would present additional buildings or other uses on the site. So that was the recommendation that staff included. And again, that was just based off of the surrounding residential uses that are currently present, and also with public comment that was received through the prior public hearing processes with this request.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Just curious, do we always require an applicant who wants to rezone to tell us their intended use of the property? I mean, at least like draw it out and...
Yeah, one of the conditions, one of the criteria under rezoning applications relates back to the concept plan. And really what the ordinance says is if no concept plan or intended use of the property is presented along with that application, then we should go ahead and make an assumption that there could be detrimental impacts based off of the most stringent uses that could be presented under that zoning. So we do have a difficult time whenever we're dealing with what we would refer to as like a speculative rezoning where there is no defined plan. It makes it difficult for staff to evaluate the full impacts of what the applicant is looking to do. That being said, though, the requirement for the concept plan and that particular criteria is just one of the many criteria for rezoning, so it's always weighed against the others as well.
Any other comments on that one? We'll take, we'll just do these one at a time. So anybody from the public here to speak for or against, or the applicant? You can come up, sir, just state your name and address, please, for our record. And this is on the second item. Right. Second item. Yeah,
My name is Brent Rogers. I represent the applicant, VTRA Development.
okay.
I was just going to request that we not have that condition placed on us. We do intend to put a road there. That's why we have that property under contract. The purpose there is to alleviate the concerns at Oracle and 280. I think that would benefit a lot more than just our property. I think even the Development Authority has some property downstream of that that's all going to be directed to that single intersection. But, you know, it's an impairment to our, it wasn't part of our deal, I guess, that when we put that property under contract, that the only thing we could do with it was put a road there. That was kind of, it's gone from something that we thought would be a good idea, beneficial to everybody, to that's the only thing you can do. So I would request that we not have that condition placed upon that. Again, that's our plan, but it's just a restriction that I would request not be placed upon us.
Any other comments? Okay. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Amanda, you want to come and do the third one is Z 242-21? second reading of an ordinance to amend that zoning map.
Yes, Chairman, and that third item that you just presented is the associated rezoning request for that comprehensive plan amendment. So I have no additional comments on that one.
Okay. Anybody have comments on that?
For the applicant, I just have one other question. We talked about, with the road not going in, and then if y'all chose to scrap that idea and just develop it in an industrial state, that we would be missing out on our opportunity to, y'all work in agreement with our traffic analysis and also a master agreement for, water and sewer improvements. Would y'all be willing to at least come to the table and talk about that if y'all's plans change?
I mean, if we later then said we wanted to fully utilize that industrial, yes, we would come back. Obviously, my understanding is through the permit process we've gone through, there's a site development plan review, so there's another chance to review anything we propose. And I think that there was a concern about the use, even though it's surrounded in a sea of industrial. That particular parcel toward this side of it, the southeast side as well. So there cannot be a monster building placed along there. There's just site restrictions that would allow it. But absolutely.
Thank you.
That is a stipulation. Okay. All right, amendment item 4 is 245Z 21 Sherman and Hem Street Real Estate Company. Second reading on that ordinance to amend the zoning map, parcel 0251-011.
All right, so this is an application for rezoning. This is being presented by Sherman and Helm Street Real Estate Company on behalf of the property owner for the property located at 5021 Wilma Edwards Road. They are requesting to rezone the property from the existing RR1 Rural Residential Zoning District to the B1 Neighborhood Commercial District. So the property consists of approximately 1.3 acres. It's located at the intersection of Wilma Edwards Road and the Bill Fitch Extension Road. It creates that triangular portion that's highlighted on the map there. The site is currently zoned for residential use, and it is currently developed with a single-family residence as well as some associated accessory buildings, some storage sheds, and things of that nature. To my understanding, the property owner does currently reside there. The application that has been submitted in an attempt to be able to sell the property. So they do not have a defined user for this site or specific identified use for the property under that B1 zoning. They have, however, indicated that through trying to market the property, they have found that it isn't really desirable as a residential use, and they've gotten more interest based off of commercial uses. So that is what's driving this particular application. Now, whenever we do a general review of the surrounding zoning within this area, you can see that there are some properties that have already been zoned for commercial use within the area. These mostly sit closer to that intersection of Wilma Edwards Road along Highway 280, but some of the other parcels, in particular adjacent to this to the south, have been zoned for commercial use as well. Now, we do identify this intersection under our comprehensive plan as being one of those community crossroads. So we do recognize the potential here for this to be kind of a little commercial node to give some small-scale business and commercial uses to support the existing residential developments within the area. So in general, it is compatible with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map designation. Now, in terms of assessing the potential impacts for this rezoning, going back to Commissioner Brookshire's earlier question about the concept plan. This is one of those speculative rezonings where we kind of struggled with the applicants to get the amount of information that we would usually look for on a concept plan in order to be able to assess those impacts. What they ended up presenting really is just a reiteration of what's existing on site. What they have, talked about with some prospects is the ability to maybe repurpose the existing buildings, do something in terms of maybe a farmer's market type location that has a retail component, or maybe some type of farm-to-table restaurant on a very small scale using those existing structures. So this concept plan, as well as the additional narrative that's included in your packet, was just presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their July 20th meeting. And so staff did not really have the opportunity to incorporate this into a staff report or recommendation. But based off of this information being submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as the additional comments that were provided by the applicant, the Planning and Zoning Commission did find support for this request, and they did recommend an approval to rezone the property to B1. And I will note, I don't know if the property owner was able to make it in tonight, but I did receive a call from the representative with Sherman and Helm Street, and they were not going to be able to make it.
Anybody have any comments here on the board? Any comments? Anybody in the public will wish to speak for or against, or if the applicant, since the applicant's not here, anybody wish to speak for or against? Okay, nobody? Okay. Recommend item 5 is CUP 173-21, trailer infrastructure conditional use permit.
So this next item is a conditional use permit request for a new telecommunications tower to be located on Highway 204. The application is being presented by Parallel Infrastructure, and the specific request is to construct a new 330-foot tall guide tower facility. So the property location sits on the west side of Highway 204. The total site area consists of approximately 26 acres, of which about 16 have previously been mined as a borrow pit. The surrounding zoning in the area is primarily A5, which is our agricultural zoning district, and I do note that under the comprehensive plan, this area is still represented as being suitable for low density and agricultural uses, so it's not anticipated that there's going to be any heavier or dense development here in the future. The concept plan that they have provided shows the 330-foot tall guide facility on the left. So this is going to be a guide tower, so it has the guide wires that come down and provide additional support to the structure. And then the concept plan that they have provided on the right shows the tower's location on this property and situated approximately 315 feet from that northwest and southwest property line. Now, whenever we're reviewing telecommunication towers, we're not just using the criteria for a conditional use permit, but we're also referring to the specific criteria that we have under the Telecommunications Ordinance. And so staff's report that's in your packages tonight is going to evaluate that criteria in addition to the standard conditional use permit criteria. For this particular presentation, though, I'm going to just highlight 3 of those specific criteria. There are findings in the report that addresses all of them, but the 3 that I'm going to highlight are going to relate back to specific staff conditions that we're recommending as a part of our report. So the first criteria I want to highlight is the overall height and setbacks for new tower facilities. The ordinance requires that no new tower shall be located any closer than the height of the tower to any property line. Now, in this particular case, the tower height is 330 feet. However, to the closest property lines, they have indicated a 315-foot setback. Now, as part of a conditional use permit, the Board of Commissioners is given the ability to grant these type of reductions. So I want to highlight this to you because if the reduction is accepted through your approval, we're going to want to make sure that that is specified through that condition so that it's clear. They have given justification to reduce the 315-foot setback based off of the structural engineer's letter that's in your package, which talks about the distance that's really needed in order to contain any type of debris or impact should the tower ever collapse. And what that engineer statement essentially says that if the tower were to collapse, the way that it is designed is to collapse upon itself in an accordion-like fashion. And so that impacted area is really reduced to half the height of the tower, which would be 165 feet. So they feel like the 330-foot setback to account for the full height of the tower is not necessary because of that design. They've also highlighted the conditions of the site and the prior excavation that has been done for that borrow pit as providing some further site constraints that would impact their ability to push it back further. The next criteria I want to highlight is the suitability of existing tower locations. So the Telecommunications Ordinance really encourages antennas to co-locate on existing towers as opposed to constructing new towers. However, that same ordinance also provides for different measures that could be met in order to justify the need for a new tower. In the ordinance, it provides 6 measures. It doesn't say that all 6 have to be met, only that 1 or more has to be met. And the applicant has provided some supporting documents from licensed professionals and industry experts that demonstrates that 3 of those measures have been met. So with that, the one thing that we do want to make clear is if the new tower is constructed, we still want to see that at least 4 different providers could be co-located on that tower facility, hopefully to try to prevent additional towers from having to be constructed. So that is also captured in one of the conditions. The third criteria I'm going to highlight is the criteria regarding the impact on scenic views. Now, specifically in the Telecommunications Ordinance, it defines scenic views as being those that are referenced in our comprehensive plan. And I note that we don't have any designated scenic views in the comprehensive plan, but the comprehensive plan generally talks about maintaining the aesthetics along our arterial roadways and really encourages the use of buffers. So the one thing that we want to make sure that we do capture here is making sure that the tower isn't visually impacting Highway 204, which is an arterial roadway for us. If we're looking at the existing site, and this aerial view shows it the best, you see that there are heavy buffers, particularly along that northwest property line, which can do a lot to shield the visual impact for anybody who is to the northwest of the site or who might be traveling south on Highway 204. But if we look along the southwest property line, you can see that we have a less dense buffer along that property line, and in addition to that, the property in front of it has been previously timbered, so we don't have any existing vegetation at that time to kind of soften the impact of it. So staff is recommending that through any site plan review that we do look at getting some additional plantings along that property line to help enhance the buffer in that area. So with that being said, staff did make a recommendation for approval because we felt like they met the ordinance requirements, but I do want to highlight those conditions that are referenced on page 187 of your packages. And those recommended conditions, and number 1 is additional planning shall be provided along the southwest property line in order to enhance the existing buffer and soften the visual impact of the tower from Highway 204. The buffer and landscape plan shall be submitted in conjunction with the building permit for review. Condition number 2 states the tower and fence compound shall be designed to accommodate at least 4 or more providers in accordance with section 113-32 of the Bryan County Telecommunications Antennas Ordinance. And condition 3 states the tower shall be set back at least 315 feet from the northwest and southwest property lines. And again, that third condition should only be applied if you're willing to accept their request for that reduction.
Anybody have any questions on that? Anybody, the applicant here, or anybody speak for or against? Yes, sir, are you the applicant?
I am. My name is Hadisha Gordon, authorized agent of Parallel Infrastructure.
Okay.
Here to answer any questions that you may have with regard to the application.
Anybody have any questions?
So I understand how the tower collapses in an accordion style. I get that. But is there any other reason that we have to have that 315-foot setback versus the 330?
Yes.
There's a lot of property there that 15 feet's not a lot to ask for.
Correct, but there's also a borrow pit that's on the property that was previously approved and is existing on the site. There has been already some excavation, and I believe they have some plans for excavation down the line. No immediate needs, But that was kind of what we had came up with McClendon, who's the borrow pit owner there, to make sure that the two can coexist on the site simultaneously and not further impact what they have going on.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We need a motion to close our public hearing and go back into our regular meeting and vote on these items.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we close the public hearing and get back to our regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we're back in our regular meeting, and first item we're going to vote on is the ordinance to amend the UDA Article 7 as supplemental conditions for specific uses.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the second reading of an ordinance to amend Article 7, supplemental conditions for specific uses of the Unified Development Ordinance.
I second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, the next one is the VTRE Development LLC Comprehensive Plan Amendment, North Bryan Future Land Use Map for Parcel 034-020 and 034-020-01.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to amend the comprehensive plan's future land use map to designate these parcels for industrial use in support of the rezoning of the property.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, we're down to the third one, which is the VTR Development LLC second reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning map for parcel 034-020D, 034-020-01.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the ordinance, subject to an added condition that the applicant, if they go vertical with any buildings that fit the industrial zoning outside of the road that's planned, that they work with staff on general master plan agreements as far as traffic and water and sewer. Is that clear enough?
A second.
That's clear. You got that?
Is Audra here? Is that, Amanda, is that good?
Any contributions? Clear for the record that we're not accepting the staff's condition, but replacing it with your recommended condition.
That's correct. Not accepting this condition and replacing it with what we've got.
Any discussion on that? Dallas, you second it?
Yeah.
You second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, down to item 4, which is Z 245-21 Chairman, Henry Street Real Estate Company, second reading on ordinance to amend the zoning map for parcel 0251-011.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve case Z number 245-21 and the rezoning of said property as requested.
Second. Any discussion on that one? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And the last one here is the CUP 173-21 Parallel Infrastructure Conditional Use Permit, the tower. Need a motion on that one?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve CUP number 173-21 with the following conditions. Additional plantings shall be provided along the southwest property line in order to enhance the existing buffer and soften the visual impact of the tower from Highway 204. The buffer and landscape plan shall be submitted in conjunction with the building permit for review. Number 2, the tower and fenced compound shall be designed to accommodate at least 4 or more providers in accordance with section 113-32, that would be 30-2 of the Bryan County Telecommunications Antennas Ordinance. The tower shall be set back at least 315 feet from the northwest and southwest property lines.
Second. A second on that one. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right. Now we're on to our community development non-public hearing items. First reading of the ordinance to amend the UDO section 114-1003C roads without curbs and gutters.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. The first item in front of you is first reading of an ordinance to amend the UDO. Currently in the UDO, all roads in the county require curb and gutter for new construction. The engineering director, however, may waive this requirement in the A5, RR 2.5, and RR 1.5 zoning districts. The amendment in front of you tonight would amend this section of the UDO to allow the engineering director to waive the curb and gutter requirement in the industrial I2 zoning district. This is first reading, so no motion or action is needed. This ordinance will be presented to the Planning Commission for public hearing at their August 17th meeting, and then second reading of the ordinance and the public hearing in front of the Board of Commissioners will be on September 14th. And I am available to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions for her at this time on that? Curb and gutter? No? Okay. No questions, we can get to the next one. First reading ordinance amending UDO section 114-521, exhibit 521, summary of a lot area height setback requirements for industrial and public institutional districts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this is first reading of an ordinance to amend the development standards in the industrial zoning districts. Currently, there's a maximum height of 45 feet for both the I1 and the I2 zoning districts. This ordinance would amend that section. It would increase the maximum height in the I1 light industrial to 50 feet, and it would amend the maximum height in the general industrial zoning district I2 to 80 feet. Again, this is first reading. No action is required, and the ordinance will be presented to the Planning Commission at their August 17th meeting for a public hearing, and then back in front of this body on September 14th for second reading and a public hearing. And I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions on that? No questions on that? Okay. And then on to the third one, this is first reading ordinance to amend the UDO section 114-634, B5 trees and wetlands, in wetlands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, first reading of this ordinance, no action is required. The UDO currently establishes a maximum percentage of 50% of the trees located in wetlands may be counted to meeting the minimum tree canopy requirement for all development. This amendment would increase the maximum amount to 75% of trees being allowed to be counted towards tree canopy coverage that are located in wetlands, specifically for the general industrial I2 zoning district. Again, this will be presented to the Planning Commission for the recommendation at their August 17th meeting, and a public hearing will be held, and then it will be back in front of this body on September 14th for second reading and a public hearing. And I am available to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody have any comments on that? Nope. Okay. Thank you, man. And just so people know, that UDO, we adopted that UDO, and we're trying to treat commercial and industrial kind of the same, but we're going back and knowing, just looking at it and kind of get everything in line. So commercial is not looked at the same as industrial. So that's what we're doing here. The next thing is our Z250-21, the Coastal Highway LLC first reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning map for parcel 0471-001.
This is the first reading of the ordinance. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property as it's currently zoned B2 general commercial and RR1 rural residential, and they will be requesting B2 general commercial and RM multifamily residential. The property is located on Highway 17. It consists of approximately 45 acres. They're looking to locate the commercial zoning towards the front of the site along Highway 17. It'll consist of about 5 acres for those commercial out parcels, and the remainder of the site is dedicated to the RM zoning for the townhouse development. Now, we are just presenting this for the first reading, so we are not expecting any official action at this meeting. We do currently have this scheduled for our Planning and Zoning Commission on August 17th for a public hearing, and if it clears the Planning and Zoning Commission, it's tentatively scheduled for that September 14th Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments? Nope. Okay, man.
I just want them to be acutely aware that there are 7 or 8 folks that are going to be directly affected by this development, and we need to take as much precautions as we can to minimize the effect on those folks that live on B Road. This is a huge development right behind them. It's going to be basically in their backyard. So, I mean, I just want to make that statement right up front, so.
Right, noted.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. And we have the approval of the resolution adopting the 2020 CIE update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an action item. I will need a formal motion and approval for this resolution. This is what I consider a perfunctory action. Last month, I was before you presenting the annual update that we are required to do for our impact fee program and our capital improvement elements of the comprehensive plan. You did adopt that update. I sent it off to DCA. They have notified me that all is good, and they have accepted it. And so the last thing we need to do in order to remain our qualified local government's standing is to have you formally adopt the update, and then I will transmit it to DCA.
We need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution adopting the annual update of the capital improvement element.
Second, okay, by Gene Wallace, Commissioner Wallace. Is there any discussion on that? No discussion, okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you all. Okay, Ben, you're up. First is the millage rate establishment for next year.
First up is the adoption of 2021 millage rate. 5-year history has been advertised on the adoption of 2021 millage rate. The recommendation is to adopt a rollback millage rate of 7.999. That's 7.999 for the unincorporated areas of Bryan County, as well as the cities of Pembroke and Richmond Hill, and also adopt the millage rate of 15.075 for the Board of Education and 1.5 for the school bond debt service. As you recall, back in 2014, your state will have been rolling back that millage rate. This is actually a rollback that's additional to what's required by law, so this is above and beyond. So you rolled it back since 15 from 9.15 to this 7.999. So pretty good accomplishment, and still accomplish everything that's been accomplished for the county. And this is above and beyond the requirement by law for rollback. What we're looking for is approve and adopt the 2021 millage rate resolution that's attached in your packets.
Yeah, this is what, so everybody knows, you know, when he was saying 2015, our millage rate was 9.1. Tonight, we're going to vote on it 7.999, which is over a mill rollback, so it saves some people on their taxes, but if your property values went up, you know, it may not have, but we are rolling that millage rate back. So everybody understands that. Somebody want to make a motion or comment on this motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve and adopt the 2021 millage rate resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comments?
What was the required amount?
Required amount was 8.094.
So we dropped it, just to make the point, we dropped it below what the required amount was.
Yeah, you dropped it.
An additional.
The value of that would have been about $160,000. So, and what we forecast for the budget this year, of course, we met that revenue requirement, thus giving back $150,000 or $160,000.
So we're giving a little money back.
Well, and we've done this, and we certainly haven't cut any services. I mean, we're paving roads, we're building, we're doing I feel like we're doing a really good job of trying to manage the county's money. The citizens' money.
Absolutely.
Which is where it comes from.
Absolutely.
I think we need to note that SPOS, T-SPOS, impact fees, are all things that have really done well for us, which has helped. Able to do that, take the burden off of the property tax. So it's good stuff.
Yep. Any other comments? We've had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right.
Item 2 on the agenda is residential solid waste collection credit. Of course, as you know, let's see if I've got a slide here. Solid waste sits in the unincorporated fund with community development and engineering, other departments that are exclusive to the unincorporated areas. So their budget is paid by fees. So citizens are not double taxed in those incorporated areas. And this year, we were able to go out and bid, look at our solid waste providers, and we got some good bids in, and was able to make substantial savings, annual savings on the contract. And we were able to add a little bit to our unincorporated services from those savings, but the bulk of it, large majority, we're recommending a $20 credit to all unincorporated residents on their on the trash bills, and that will give back the bulk of those savings to the citizens for that service. And what we've attached is a resolution that makes that effective for this cycle of bills.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve a $20 residential solid waste credit for all residents for 2021.
Second.
Any discussion on that? No discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Just for clarification, I'd roll back the annual garbage rate from 200 to 180
Okay,
for this upcoming cycle.
so we'll be 180 moving forward. All right.
Item 3, intergovernmental agreement, City of Pembroke EMS location. Bryan County Emergency Services was looking at changing their location within the City of Pembroke. It's a similar agreement we have with City of Richmond Hill. However, we're using our own facility there. But this is an agreement that the EMS will utilize this location provided by the City of Pembroke from 8 a.m. To 8 p.m. in the afternoon, contingent upon department staffing, of course. And what we're actually doing is moving from what we call the EMS house within City of Pembroke to the location of the old police station. So this agreement lays out the details and the arrangements as far as our staff utilizing that location. What we're looking for is authorize the chairman to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Pembroke, Bryan County for the division of the City of Pembroke EMS location. So, Lori, I believe that they've already actually returned this agreement and adopted it last night. So.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the chairman to execute the intergovernmental agreement between the City of Pembroke and Bryan County for the provision of the City of Pembroke EMS location.
Second.
Second, any discussion on that? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next, ma'am.
Item 4 is to consider the approval of the MOU with Richmond Hill Bryan County Chamber of Commerce for the Great Geechee Seafood Festival. This is the same MOU you saw back in 2019. The commission recognized that tourism played a large part in our revenues, SPLOST, T-SPLOST, all that sort of thing, and implemented this memorandum of understanding with the Chamber. The Bryan County will pay $10,000 to the Chamber for operations of the Great Geechee Seafood Festival, and of course to promote tourism within Bryan County. So what we're asking for tonight is the approval of the MOU with the Richmond Hill Bryan County Chamber of Commerce, which would extend that relationship. The only reason you didn't do it back in 2020 was COVID, basically. It was canceled.
Need a motion on that one?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize county staff to execute the MOU with the Richmond Hill Bryan County Chamber of Commerce.
Second. Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You're welcome, Catherine.
We've seen this one a couple of times, but I think we got it right this time. Item 5 is a sewer service agreement with the City of Richmond for the purchase of sewage treatment capacity. This is a great thing for both organizations. This purchase 225,000 gallons per day of sewage treatment capacity within the City of Richmond Hills wastewater treatment facility for Southern unincorporated Bryan County. The new agreement reflects 2 changes to the old agreement. It's the addition of a 50-year contract term, and it also adds a second of a clause reflecting that the sewer capacity available in Bryan County in this agreement shall never exceed 4 million gallons per day within the existing plant for the period of no more than 20 years from the execution of this agreement. So those 2 changes have been passed along to the city because they were requested by the city. The city has agreed to the agreement in its current form that you see before you, and we recommend that you accept the requested revisions as presented and re-adopt this intergovernmental agreement.
Somebody need to make a motion on this.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion accepting the requested provisions as presented.
Second.
Second. Any comments? No comments on that? Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you, Ben. Next item, number 6.
Item 6 is award of a contract to IEM for consulting services for disaster recovery and FEMA public assistance. Staff did an RFQ for consulting services for disaster recovery and FEMA public assistance to assist the county before and after a disaster such as a hurricane. They scored these, and they're recommending that IEM, based out of Morrisville, North Carolina, be awarded that contract. Just to briefly tell you a little bit about what that is that basically that's the people that you consult with, not to pick up the debris, not to monitor how much debris has been picked up, because the contract has 3 components, or not this contract, but our recovery program basically has 3 components, and this is just one of those. But this is the people that say, hey, this is what qualifies for assistance. This is how you go and get it, and we're going to help you through that process and make sure everything's right, so you don't have to pay any money back, and you're able to maximize what you are able to get from FEMA. So we're recommending the approval of to award the contract to IEM for consulting services for disaster recovery and FEMA public assistance. Now, later you'll be seeing a monitoring contract come through, and then also a debris collection contract come through. This is the first step, but tonight you're only looking at the consulting services.
We need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion approving staff to award a contract to IEM for consulting services for disaster recovery and FEMA public assistance.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7.
Number 7 is adopt a resolution requesting that Georgia Department of Transportation approve the list of roads for Bryan County for the use of speed detection devices. I explained this a little bit. Every few years you get a letter from the Department of Transportation that says, this is what we have on file. Would you please take a look at this, see if this matches your signs, your records, and re-adopt this ordinance and basically refresh what they've got on their file so that you can use speed detection devices and so they have an accurate record. This is not the addition of new devices. This is basically just a housekeeping type of deal. When I say speed detection devices, we're talking about laser, radar, LiDAR, stuff we've already got basically. This is just taking their list, taking our list, doing an inventory of the signs, make sure everything matches up, and then re-adopting the ordinance. There are a few things we found with this, not a lot, but we've got, this is part 1. We'll say this is part 1 of our update. Part 2 will be some other roads that we've added. We had quite many roads in a decade's time or a year's time because of just residential development. And so that component will be part 2 of this. So and that'll be next month. Our recommendation is we adopt a resolution requesting that the Georgia Department of Transportation approve the list of roads for Bryan County as so attached for the use of speed detection devices.
Okay, we need a motion on that to accept this.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt a resolution requesting that the Georgia Department of Transportation approve the list of road for Bryan County List 0720221 for the use of speed detection devices.
Second.
Any discussion on that? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Spend some money. Next is that purchase of that 2021 John Deere.
As you can probably imagine, we've had a lot of water and sewer projects lately. So this is basically a housekeeping item to purchase 2021 John Deere backhoe loader for water and sewer department. John went out and procured a price. The Georgia statewide source for a discount for this piece of equipment is the same at $81,174.73. And what we'd like is to authorize the staff to purchase this piece of equipment. And it will come from SPLOST 7 funds.
Will come from where? Splash 7 funds. Okay, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion in authorizing staff to purchase a 2021 John Deere 310 SL backhoe loader for water and sewer department.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next is 9, award a professional contract to before.
Item 9 is award of professional services contract to Before the Breach for IT security consulting services. Staff interviewed Before the Breach Consulting Services will work with the county's IT staff to review county IT security and harden security against IT hacks. Before the Breach worked with Jackson County, Georgia after its recent ransomware attack. The contract for the scope of work is $39,900 and is American Rescue Plan Act eligible. Our recommendation is to approve the appropriate amendment and authorize the staff to award a professional services contract to Before the Breach for IT security consulting services.
Need a motion to approve that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we authorize staff to award a professional services contract to Before the Breach for IT security consulting services and approve the 2021 budget amendment as presented at this meeting in Exhibit A.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? Yeah. All in favor, raise your right hand. Anyone? All right. All opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Yes. Yeah, we've had some attacks on our emails and IT systems lately.
Yours.
They're just attacking me. Okay, they're attacking me, so yeah. They did get some money from me, but that's okay. We got it back. Yeah, you got 39 done now.
They
Didn't get
had
it.
way too many pleases to be from Carter.
That's right. Yeah, there was some email circulating trying to get some data from these guys, so anyway.
Item 10 on the agenda is appointments for Bryan County Library Board. Lisa Freeman, Sherry Bath, and John Hoskins are ending their current term on Library Board and are seeking reappointment. Our recommendation is to consider the appointments to the Bryan County Library Board. These are all 3 reappointments, if you choose to do so.
We need a motion to approve those appointments.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the appointments to the Bryan County Library Board.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that's okay. All right. Budget amendment for Warren Hill Road Joint Traffic Project.
Item 11 is the Warren Hill Road Traffic Congestion Relief Project, joint project with the Bryan County Board of Education. Bryan County Board of Education has currently completed the process of adding additional class space to the middle school facility located on Warren Hill Road. In an effort to avoid increased traffic congestion during peak hours and to facilitate a rapid implementation schedule, county staff and BOE staff have devised a funding and implementation plan for additional vehicle stacking for peak student drop-off and pickup times. What they've done is they've built a, long story short, drop-off area that can double stack cars, accommodate about 279 vehicles, which relieves our road, Warren Hill Road. So in exchange, since it's a mutually beneficial situation, we're recommending that we refund the board, because they had to implement this fast, up to $150,000 as specified in the MOU. It's a little less than that. and authorize staff to enter into that MOU, and then also authorize the budget amendment, which accommodates that funding.
Okay, we need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion authorizing the budget amendment of $150,000 for the Warren Hill Road Traffic Congestion Relief Joint Project, and authorize the county administrator to enter into an agreement with the DOE to reimburse them for the appropriate county portion of the project not to exceed $150,000.
Second.
Second that. Okay, any discussion on that? No discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. We're down to our public comments. Would anybody in the public like to come up and make any comments? Yes, if you just come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Linda Garrett, address is 360 Selena Lane. Last meeting, y'all commented about paving the dirt roads in the county, and that, I don't know if that topic has been decided or still up for discussion. I've spoke with some of the residents that live on Selena Lane and Selena Road, and the consensus was at first they did not want the road paved back when Oak Point subdivision was constructed. I think the consensus has changed. I, for one, do want it paved. I did not know if I need to get a petition together to go to the residents on Selena Road and Selena Lane to see if the consensus is there to have it considered for paving or not. Wanted to ask y'all's advice on this.
Well, we are coming up with a plan to try to pave the dirt roads in the south and in the north end too. So we're just kind of still compiling. We've been working on it for a while. So when I don't think you need to get into petition, because as it gets closer, and then we'll take some comments on those roads.
Well, the reason being is because, like I said, the consensus prior was that they did not want it paved.
Right.
But I think it has changed.
Right, okay. Yeah, and we hadn't made any decisions on paving any of the road. We're just kind of working on a plan to get some of those done. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have a list, right?
Yeah, we have a list that we're working on, trying to get through.
I'll specify what you did, I believe it was earlier in the year, is to approve, maybe the first of last year, approve the funds for a study that prioritizes all the dirt roads.
That's right.
And then based on tracking housing, the number of houses, and also set in the paper as far as what it's going to cost to do this. So you have a priority list, you have the cost associated with it, so at least you have some data to take some appropriate action, whatever possible, whatever feels in the county's financial ability.
Also, I don't know if this is the correct platform for this, but when I was coming through the school zone over by the new middle school, one of the caution lights has been knocked over.
Yep, yep, he's got it. Thank you. Anybody else in the public wish to comment? You come up and state your name and address, please. Oh.
Good evening, Commissioners. Catherine Johnson, 28 Binding Way in Richmond Hill. On behalf of the Board of Directors and myself, we just want to say thank you for the approval of the MOU. We are very excited about the festival this year and hope to see you all there. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, anybody else? Maybe just come up and state your name and address for our record, please.
My name is Jennifer Fournier. My address is 168 B Road. I am one of those property owners that would be affected by the rezoning. And I would just want to let you all know that all of us that live on B Road have been there generally for decades. And we see our backyards and our homes as our sanctuary. We enjoy the trees, and we know that when we purchased our properties 20
20, 30, however many years ago, that we knew it was zoned for residential and that we were okay with another residential property going in there. But multifamily is a whole different story for us. And we would just want you to consider that and to consider denying that change in zoning for that property.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up and speaking to me. Anybody else from the public want to make any comments? Yes, sir, if you just come up and state your name and address, please, sir.
My name is Ronnie Strickland. I live at 190 Kelly Davis Road in Richmond Hill. I just come to let you know that I'm part of the community that has a new development for townhomes that was addressed previously. As Dr. Wallace commented, I think I'd like to stress that the board examine the impact, especially the homes that have already been built right there, and the impact it's going to have that close to it. There's just such a small buffer area there. From talking to several of the neighbors in the area, they're totally against us, and I think you should know that. And one of the main reasons is a safety reason. I live on Kelly Davis Road. I pulled out, and as you all know, the Fort Stewart traffic that travels along there twice a day to and from work, it backs up so far that you can't even go in and out. Took me 20 minutes to travel 3/4 of a mile the other day. After I was allowed to come out, and some good citizen let me slide in just to get out, took me that long. And this is coming from my house to go to a doctor's appointment. The biggest concern is I have seen ambulances that are coming down at knockoff time from the Fort Stewart traffic, and the 18-wheelers that go down there, they can't pull over right away, and I saw ambulances sat there from 5 to 8 minutes and couldn't move because there was nowhere to go, and it backs up. Our biggest concern is with approximately 279 new homes in that area, townhouses, if you consider most families have 2 automobiles, that's putting almost a little over 500 more automobiles pulling out into that. Maybe at that time or any time, it's just going to add more traffic on Highway 17. And unfortunately, there's no provisions to widen that road in any way. And I really don't know. I do know the problems that I have even trying to go into Savannah on 204, where they put this new traffic light just past the exit there onto 17. It gets backed up to I-95. And that's one of our biggest concerns. We're basically being blocked into that area, and to add more traffic, I think it's really going to be a problem, plus the buffer zone in between this area. And I appreciate the board for your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? None? Okay. Commissioner comments? I'm sorry. You can come on up, state your name and address, sir. Yeah.
My name's Tony Beasley, and I live right in the middle of the track on B Road. I've been there for 15 years. When I bought my property, I checked the zoning behind me and was assured that it was going to remain residential. I'm fine with it being residential. I respect the person's wish to do what they want to do as long as it's zoned residential. I built an auxiliary building on my property approximately 12 years ago, and I had to jump through considerable hoops with the Planning and Board Commission to get it built. It took me 2 years longer and approximately $50,000 more than I was planning on the budget to build. My wife has the pool there, and I have my workshop that I build. My weekend means everything to me. If that size and scope of those buildings go up like that, it will destroy my way of life, and it will destroy my property values. And I think that the council should give the utmost respect to these 6 property owners, especially on B Road, for that development. If it goes in, I will not be able to survive there. I can tell you that right now. And I feel like sometimes we get neglected on that end, and I think it's time for y'all to stand up for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, any other comments from the public? None? Okay, commissioner comments? We have some comments.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to take a minute to, as we were going through the agenda tonight, you just recognize how much work staff puts into some of this. There's considerable work, there's considerable savings that go back to the citizens of the county. And I just think it's important that you know, we could read off these items, but there's, every one of these items, there's a lot of work that goes into, and just want to say thank you to staff for all the extra time that you put into looking out for the citizens of Bryan County, because I think that's important, and I think we sometimes miss that. And just kind of want to point that out and say thank you.
Well said.
Thank you, staff. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to state something for all of y'all and kind of put it out there, but I know that I've shared with each of y'all individually, but I wanted to publicly state that this will be my last meeting, very likely my last meeting as a county commissioner for District 4. My family's decided to sell our current residence and move to another house in South Bryan County. Unfortunately, our new residence is located outside of District 4, which is why I'll have to resign. So the sale of our residence should take place prior to the September meeting, so I kind of wanted to get that out there. But just a couple of thoughts. You know, I've served in this capacity since being elected in November of 16, so it's been 57 months. I've enjoyed serving with all, not that I'm counting, but I'm just saying. But I've enjoyed serving with you all, as well as our staff and other elected officials in our area. My term would have ended next year, and I wasn't planning on running again for a third term anyway, but I just want to say I'm proud of what we've accomplished. Everyone is aware that we're in a high growth area. We all feel that. That creates a lot of pressure for everyone. You know, pressure can make you crack, but pressure is also what it takes to create diamonds. And I think during my time, we've made great strides in our areas. Traffic improvements, recreational opportunities, investments in our industrial growth opportunities, which are going to pay dividends for years and years to come. Our county financial situation has improved greatly over the last 5 years through really a lot of combined efforts of our oversight of this body, and also staff has done a great job when it comes to that. So the additions of T-Splost impact fees as revenue sources that this body has put in place has allowed for an overall better financial picture for our county, and that's proven by the millage rate reduction that we all voted in tonight. So I'll leave this post with just kind of awareness of several things, but just wanted to kind of state them. Number one is that it takes an immense amount of time to do this job if you want to do it right, and y'all all know that. And I leave here with much more appreciation for individuals that give their time for public service, for the betterment of our community. I also want to say that Bryan County, I don't want us to forget, Bryan County is rich in people, and we need to continue to encourage new people to serve on these appointed boards and in various elected positions. New people bring new ideas, and they challenge this is the way we've always done it attitude, and I think that's good for us. Third, Bryan County is only going to continue to grow. There's really nothing we can do about it. I think we've all felt the pressure of that. A lot of people are not happy about that, but that's the reality. Bryan County is going to grow. We just all of us, residents, elected officials, we have to stay engaged to make sure it grows in the way that we desire. One of my favorite quotes applies here, and it's decisions are made by those that show up. So everybody needs to keep showing up and making sure we get it right. You know, we haven't always gotten along and agreed on everything, but I've learned a lot, and I think I've learned that that's healthy and produces the best result. So if I made you mad over the last 57 months, you know.
57 months, not counting.
But just want to say thank you to the residents of District 4 for electing me and allowing me the privilege to serve in my county in this way. And I hope to stay engaged in other capacities, and if the opportunity presents itself, I'll serve again in the future. So, thank you.
Well said, Brad. Thank you.
Comments. No, we appreciate it. It does take a lot to serve on the board, and for people to step up, it's time consuming. It's a lot of back and forth, but it is rewarding to see where our county has been and where it's going. So we appreciate your service, Brad.
Thank you.
Brad, it's always been a joy working with you to accomplish things.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it, even when we've disagreed. We still come out on top, and we still enjoy each other's time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, totally enjoyed it.
Any other comments?
You've done a good job, Brad.
We've had some good time.
Brad, I'll just commend you on your service, not only while you were elected, but even before you were elected, and I know you'll continue to do that. And I've known Brad for some time, and served on several boards, nonprofit, and even elected for 6 months, but certainly cares about this community and doesn't hesitate to lean in. And I think that's what we all aspire to do. So, well said, and thank you for your service.
I've known Brad since he was probably about 10 years old. I was his dentist for God knows how many years.
I've never been that close.
It still makes me feel, all this makes me feel very old when I see people that were my patients as children or grown-ups and having their own children. But Brad's done a great job for us with this, and it's I agree. I'm reminded of something my dad told me many years ago. He did politics in Pooler. When I told him I wanted to do this, first he looked at me and asked me, was I crazy? And then he said, well, you know, son, you're never going to have anybody call you and say, Gene, you're doing a good job. So, I mean, I know you don't get many, but you did a good job.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Yeah, I think, Lori, we do have some, I know, Brad, this is kind of your last meeting, maybe.
Oh, I'm not coming back, man.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, let me just, we do have an award for you. Yeah. Since you won't have to come back for that 58 meeting, just a trophy to look at, okay?
Yeah. You got a little helmet.
Maybe.
Waiting on this, we didn't know if it was.
You won't get me back, I don't think, right?
Yeah, if we can't get you back, we might not be able to get you back.
The name is just Velcro. Like when you pull it off.
Absolutely it is.
You got a picture, man?
Yeah. So we do want to present this to Brad. I mean, Brad's done a good job again. It's a lot of work, and everybody sees, all our elected officials see, and we did want to just present this to you. Brad, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you again. And we need meeting's not over yet, Brad, but we need a motion to go into executive session.
We definitely gonna miss you.
You must go into executive session for real estate, please.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into executive session.
For the purpose of
Real estate. Get a second on that?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Okay. We are going to go into executive session and come back in a little bit. Maybe.
Brad may not come back. Should have said that tonight. That's wrong. That's what I wanted to say. Cameras